Hey, come see us do live shows January 3rd in Los Angeles, Honolulu after that, Baltimore, Maryland, Atlantic City, Cohoes, New York, and Providence, Rhode Island. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. Hey, so this drone thing's happening. And this what we know. This is from The Guardian, what we know. Turns out they don't know anything.
What?
Spoiler alert, they don't know anything. There's
It's not
nothing to
the
know.
Iranian mothership, as the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan told us, but we didn't listen.
Scores of nighttime drone sightings have been reported across the eastern coast of the United States in recent weeks, sparking panic and conspiracy theories ranging from a secret government program to a nefarious plot by a foreign power. I can tell you for sure it's not a foreign power.
Well, I would like to point out how insane of a country is this that you have to sit here pondering what it could be.
Instead of them just having a fucking jet. We spent $1 trillion on the military and they can't send a jet up there to shoot that thing down?
Well,
or go find out what it is?
They have to legally. That's how you know it's theirs or NATO's, I guess. And also...
So that's how you know it's the U.S. military doing this.
They're not allowed to let them fly over there. Oh, it's in Oak Ridge, too. You should get Scott Rouse, the body language guy.
Yeah.
He was just on News Nation because he saw crazy-looking ones. It's like a trade show of drones. Like we got drones that sound like planes, drones that sound like drones.
They're even flying them over military bases. And you're telling me that... So, anyways, let's get through this story because I'm tired.
Okay.
President-elect Donald Trump has, without evidence, claimed the outgoing administration is hiding something about the sightings. You know why? Because they are.
Without evidence,
I
would say the drone parade was the evidence.
Yeah, I think that would be your evidence. The fact that there's a parade of drones over New Jersey and the military's not doing a fucking thing about it.
He made a Chris Christie hamburger joke. Is that what they meant by without evidence? You saw that, the picture of Chris Christie getting McDonald's by drone?
Yes.
They posted?
While officials in New York and New Jersey, the focus of much of the frenzy, are frantically looking for answers. Hey, what did both the invading aliens and Orson Welles have in common?
What?
They both knew that if you're going to attack Earth, start with New Jersey.
Yeah, that's true.
At least back in 1938, you could pretty much start a stampede with a radio play. Of course, now it's a real-life video game to most guys, and they just start going pew, 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 pew out of their backyard with live ammunition.
Well, somebody has to. The drones are taking over our skies, Jimmy. By the way, that big story, that never happened. The Orson Welles panic. A couple people called the sheriff's office to ask if it was real, and the sheriff said no, and they went about their business. The papers said that
made it into it
because they didn't like radio.
That's
that was
right.
Like the competition of the time.
So like when you see the New York Times writing a hit piece on Rumble or YouTube, it's the same thing back then. They were trying to scare people away from radio, the newspapers.
Misinformation could panic you.
Yeah. I mean, the average male in a New Jersey suburb is better armed than an invading alien. Anyway.
No, it's not like Texas with guns in Jersey. I'm from there. Texas and Tennessee. Oh, in Oak Ridge. That's where my friend lives. It's up and down the eastern seaboard. It's not just Jersey. I don't know why they just say Jersey. All over Oak Ridge and Nashville.
So dozens of witnesses reported seeing drones in New Jersey in November and this month, including the residential areas, but also near a military research and manufacturing facility. Get a load of that. Over railway stations and above one of Trump's golf courses. Since the reports proliferated online, more and more unidentified flying objects, also known as UFOs, have been spotted across the country. Across the country, as Kurt just said. Drone sightings have been reported at a U.S. military base in Germany. It's a worldwide alien invasion, so they don't know where it's at. So watch this.
There's so many things in the sky right now. All the ones over here. There's two behind here.
There's two over there.
Yeah, look.
Oh my God, look up in the sky. Something that it's flying and has lights on it. We must be under alien invasion. I mean, that technology to put lights on flying objects is at least hundreds of years in the future. Am I right? I mean,
that's a lame one. There's better looking ones. The point is they're all different.
So
Scott has footage, and he'll tell you about it. Because I'm seeing people go, these look like Ezekiel's wheel from the book of Ezekiel. Like, you think they couldn't build that? Like, they might have read Ezekiel as well
so
and made a drone that looks like it.
come on, Kurt. That's how the aliens blend in, by looking exactly like airliners flying into airports. Anyway, here's the people in Congress are going nuts. Watch this.
Chair recognizes the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Gonzalez. Thank you, Chairman. And, sometimes I feel like I'm in the twilight zone up here. You're telling me we don't know what the hell these drones are in New Jersey are?
So he's talking to guys from the FBI. And they're telling Congress, we don't know what these are.
Why is the FBI the ones handling this?
Why wouldn't you call somebody at the FAA? Why wouldn't you call somebody in the military? But here they are.
Is that correct?
That's right.
It's crazy.
Oh, so wait a minute.
I mean,
What?
See, that's right. They don't know what they are.
You know what this is? It's Dronuary 6th. This is they're allowing the drones to take a tour, and we're supposed to pretend it's a drone attack and an insurrection of drones.
crazy. That's madness that we don't know what these drones are.
The Bureau is actively investigating.
We don't know what these drones are, the same way we don't know who's on the Epstein flight list.
Also, you do know what they are. You just said they are drones. So you know what they are.
You know
where they come from is what you mean.
That's right.
Well, I don't understand why you wouldn't just shoot them down. If we don't know what they are,
why wouldn't you shoot them down?
right? It's something. It's a foreign entity,
Right.
Oh,
Okay.
I guess it's not foreign.
I'll tell you something a little creepy. All the people I know that know a guy, that knows a guy, especially when people know Rogan, I heard 3 different stories of what it is, of why it's our thing. And I really don't care which one it is. To me, like that we have to sit here wondering should tell you what a despicable place you live in.
That's right.
That's insane. That's crazier than aliens. The fact that you have to J.J. Abrams mystery box.
That's
like
right.
You're watching Lost and it goes nowhere. That's what this shit is.
Mention just the unexplained sighting of drone activity over that part of New Jersey. We do not attribute that to an individual or a group yet. We're investigating, but I don't have an answer of who's responsible for that, of one or more people that are responsible for those drone flights. But we're actively investigating.
So aware of those drone sightings that have been reported, at this time we have no evidence
So this is the Pentagon spokesperson.
that these activities are coming from a foreign entity or the work of an adversary.
She looks awful young to be. I mean,
No,
maybe that's just because
they're
I'm
all
getting.
cast.
What's
They're
that?
all cast. They're cast.
Yes.
Representative Jeff Van Drew, who is a Republican from New Jersey, was just on the air saying that Iran launched a mothership probably about a month ago that contains these drones, and that
Iran lost a mother. Iran.
I told you, Mr. Farrakhan warned us. The mothership would come to America.
mothership is off the coast of the east coast of the United States. Is there any truth to that?
There is not.
No, but there is
No.
truth to the fact that we are trying to start a war with Iran at the behest of Israel and Benjamin Netanyahu, and we're testing this out to see if this is good enough of a reason. It doesn't look like it.
Is there any truth that it's called Project Jewbeam?
Honest to God, how old is this woman? She looks like she's 19 years old. Maybe that's just because I'm old now and everybody looks young to me.
That's a kid. Everybody.
She looks
the
like she just
other
got out of
Irish
college.
kid, yeah.
Maybe I'm
But
wrong,
Trudeau
but
was
shouldn't there
the
be
young
somebody experty here giving me? Here we go.
Truth to that. There is no Iranian ship off the coast of the United States, and there's no so-called mothership launching drones towards the United States.
What I like about I'm not supposed to make. I can't. I'm not supposed to talk about what people are wearing if they're women.
Yeah.
So I won't.
36.
She's 36. Well, she looks
Well,
fantastic.
she must moisturize because
She must
does Field of
moisturize.
Greens.
She's
Probably takes Field of
36.
Greens. Yeah.
Okay.
That's still very young to be in charge of an international thing. 36 is, to me, a child if you're doing this job. What do you, like, that's very young.
Okay.
Like that CEO got killed, only 50. Like, that's weird.
That's what I thought too. But anyway,
States.
Is the public at risk? Is public safety at risk? Are we concerned that there are nefarious intentions that could cause either national security or a public safety incident that would put Americans at risk?
There's nothing that is known that would lead me to say that. but we just don't know, and that's the concerning part.
What's the White House message to the people up there who are frustrated that there isn't any information out?
And obviously, we hear them and we understand that. We are closely tracking this. We're
closely tracking it, but we didn't send an Air Force F-15 up to take a look at it.
Again, if you flew a drone, Jimmy Dore, over Oak Ridge, the military base over there, or all the military, it would be shot down.
We shot down. That's right.
And they would say something.
Monitoring the incidents that have been put forward and certainly made public, and we have.
The fact that she can't ever look up when she's answering a question. When someone
I just was thinking that. I go, you could see she's like, is this almost over?
When someone can't look you in the eye, isn't that usually a sign that they're lying? Of course, she's always lying. I get that. And it's not just her. It's, that's what.
It's a
respect
brutal
to
job.
Agencies that I've already mentioned that are looking into this, working closely with folks on the ground, trying to get to the bottom of it. I don't have anything more to share beyond
Trying
that.
to get to the bottom of it.
I don't need them working closely with people on the ground. That's the part. That's
Wow.
the problem. They're not
working
on the ground.
Closely? Are they closely working with people on the ground? Who would ask a question like that or ask for that as an answer to anything?
Are they working closely with people on the ground?
For the sky people, you're not too high and mighty with your sky friends. The ground people, you like, what the fuck are you talking about?
So here is this is a senator. I forget what. Let's watch. I'm sure his name will come up. But this is a senator, and he's kind of pissed off. Watch this.
This started as some questions, and now it's reached a point of almost insanity. You think about a United States.
So Senator, he's from New Jersey. Oh, this is the senator from New Jersey, John Bramnick, and he's saying it's reached to the point of insanity. Wow.
This started as some questions, and now it's reached a point of almost insanity. You think about a United States senator who has to go out with the local police to look for drones. That's where a United States senator is getting information. We had a briefing from the state police, the colonel in the state police. He was frustrated. He had no idea where these drones are coming from. Not only did I call for a limited state of emergency and the FAA shutting down the airspace for drones, but also having the Department of Defense come in and answer questions. If the Department of Defense doesn't know where the origins are for these so-called drones, then we're in trouble. We always thought that if there was something in the air the size of a car, that the Department of Defense would know where it came from, what its origin was, and what its purpose was. Now you have a United States senator going out with the local police, to look for fireworks at night? That is scary.
It is terrifying. Like Caitlin just reported, President-elect Trump is calling for government transparency, which you are as well. He's saying maybe shoot them down if we don't get any more information. What is your reaction to that?
How about shoot them down first?
Yeah.
Why would you not shoot them down? If the military doesn't know what it is, the state police doesn't know what it is, the FBI doesn't know what it is, but there's these car-sized things flying around, you shoot them down.
They're safer than black teens around authority?
Right? No kidding.
I would leave that up to the Department of Defense, but how can the Department of Defense not provide information to the public?
Look at Trump. Mystery drone sightings all over the country. Can this really be happening without our government's knowledge? I don't think so. So that's the former president of the United States, the incoming president of the United States, the top of the executive branch, saying that the government knows what's going on. Guess who else is saying that?
Trump,
I'm fucking saying that. I'm saying that too. Somebody inside the government knows exactly.
Who on this earth? There's only two possibilities I see for anybody: is I either don't care about the drones at all, or obviously they know what it is and they're just not going to tell you. Who would actually sit there and go, no, they don't know?
Is this some kind of is this the next version of Russiagate to try to undermine the Trump administration in some way?
Dronuary 6th.
Dronuary 6th. See, even aliens are upset about Trump. You want aliens to invade? Elect Trump. Here we go.
This is a shock to me. I have a general belief in government, but this is taking me to the end of my belief that government is really being honest. Now, there's been some apparently top secret briefings, right, with Congress people. Now, they come out of that, and I heard Josh Gottheimer come, the representative, and he said, well, I'm not getting a lot of information, but I don't think it's a threat. So my guess is there is information, but they're holding it back. And now what you have is panic. Originally some questions, now you have serious concerns. And at the next point, somebody's going to do something stupid. So the Department of Defense has to come clean with the American public.
So to your point, the FBI says they have no evidence of malicious activity or intent in these drone flights. What is it that they might not be telling us, and why?
Hold on. So they said there's no malicious intent.
How do they know what the intent is? Again, they're just making shit up.
Do you remember the Iranian drone that we sprayed jet fuel on our drone?
Yes.
And the big deal that was about one drone?
Yeah.
And that drone that Trump didn't go to war over, which they were mad at him for in Iran, that's one drone. The skies are flooded over military bases with drones. So if that's a foreign entity, you would think they would be losing their mind like it was a Chinese balloon.
That's right.
Well, no evidence that this is a threat. What does that mean?
Right.
How does that help an average citizen? No evidence of a threat? You mean they didn't do anything sinister yet? Well, yet. Yeah, I probably can make that statement, and I have no top secret clearance. Based on what I've seen so far, looking out my window, it doesn't appear to be a threat to our country. Okay, why? Well, because I looked out the window. That's all I'm getting from the federal government. And every single person, Democrat or Republican, has been calling for the same thing. That's why I have some concern that there is something very secret going on. Because how did the people with the technology have no idea, except it's not, if they're saying it's not a threat, it must be something going on that's real top secret.
Senator, have you had this kind of discretion from the government before when you've asked them questions straight out?
I've never seen anything go on this long. And why would the government allow the public to be so frustrated?
Right.
Why would the government allow a United States senator to be so frustrated? We heard this from both sides of the aisle. Now that brings me to the point that whatever these drones are doing, the government really doesn't want us to know. What that must mean is they're more concerned with us getting knowledge and being afraid of that information than having no knowledge and having all these questions. That's why I'm worried about it. It must be something going on that they can't tell us because they are so fearful of what the public's going to do when they hear what the drones are doing. There's no way the Department of Defense does not know what's going on. We have not heard. Have we heard one word from the Department of Defense? Zero.
Unbelievable. And you are calling for a limited state of emergency and a ban on flying drones like you and I just talked about a moment ago. The FAA has already imposed no-fly zones. The drones are still in the air. Nothing is being done. How would what you're calling for change the situation? Obviously, whoever is putting these drones in the air isn't really caring about these warnings.
Well, I'm not sure about that because who's ever putting the drones in the air they're not violating the law technically. So if we put that in effect, we would see whether or not these individuals who are setting them up are bold enough to violate the law. Right now, why should they stop? Assuming they're a private entity. I never would believe that this is a private entity. But if so, why do we need, let me ask you a question. Is there some reason we need drones that badly right now in the air when people are panicking? Shut them down. FAA should shut them down. Who are they helping? All they're doing is creating panic.
I agree with you. To that point, what do you want to tell your constituents, Senator?
Continue to put pressure on, and it's not even state officials. I saw Larry Hogan said something the other day. This is the federal government that's not coming clean. And I'm not one of these conspiracy people, but if this continues, you're going to see conspiracy theories that, in my judgment, are create panic. So come clean now. Everyone on both sides of the aisle is asking for this. And I'll tell you something, the citizens deserve better.
So Michael Tracy said it would seem the primary hysteria to be worried about right now are elected officials chomping at the bit to attribute these drone sightings to the typical cast of scary foreign adversaries in hopes of whipping up a war fervor and or funding more military industrial expenditure.
You know, Jimmy, after watching that, you saw, I don't know if you saw Tim Dillon tweeted, but I'll bet you it's probably something like this. And I think it was a joke that Tim tweeted, but there's some loose nuke that they're trying to scan for with the drones, or something like that. There's some emergency thing where we got to find this thing.
Well, there's going to be a debunking of that later in this.
Thank God. I will be delighted to hear that debunked.
These are the transformer aliens attacking us, the distractions. They're here to take our eyes off the ball, right? We get to shoot them down. Guess why? Because we paid for them.
Nobody shot one down, have they?
No, but apparently a comedy show with Steve Carell wasn't enough to get the Space Force budget they wanted. And here we go.
And just remember, ladies and gentlemen, the feckless response to the Chinese Communist Party spy balloon. When that thing traversed America and went over one very sensitive base, including the B-2 bombers base, after another. We did nothing except say, oh, it's a spy balloon. Or is it? Or is it a weather balloon? I still can't get over that one. The elusive maneuvering of these drones, I would suggest a make.
Yes, that treacherous weather balloon warrants orbital global dominance.
Yeah.
Because a regular United States Air Force pilot would certainly not dive at the opportunity to finally shoot at something. Come on.
I think he's underselling it, Jimmy, because it didn't just traverse America. It traversed from mainland China.
That's right.
Intentionally, not because of the weather patterns that our own government later said it probably was from that. It went all the way across all our bases, which again look like a Predator, Megan's Law profile app. If you want to look up where our bases are, nobody shot it down. It got all the way through, all the way to Billings, Montana. I don't know what sensitive shit's there, but I'll be glad to tell the Chinese everything I know for $6. Fuck Billings. And it says white, the size of a school bus, and says China on it.
Your military power sophistication that begs the question whether they have been deployed to test our defense capabilities, or worse, by violent dictatorships, perhaps maybe Russia or China or Iran or North Korea. I mean, they have the capability, and they certainly have the motive. The Pentagon has said the drones are not ours. I've written defense.
And when has the Pentagon ever lied? When have they ever lied?
Name one time. Name once, Jimmy.
Name
Other
once.
than the ones the great Tony Clausen mentioned throughout history. Every single war.
Except to start every single war, they've lied.
Yeah.
And about Afghanistan for 20 straight years. But other than that,
Secretary Lloyd Austin asking the Pentagon to authorize the use of force to down one or more of these unmanned threats to uncover the mystery.
How do you know it's unmanned?
Maybe they were womaned.
Maybe they...
Great. Bring them down over the ocean, over an area where there's no population. Bring them down and find out who's doing it. Knowing that drone warfare has radically changed warfighting in Ukraine and Russia, the Middle East, and elsewhere, this is not the time to trivialize or dismiss the threat.
Okay.
Hey, you know what, Jimmy?
What?
I just read that you need an FAA license to fly a drone, and the penalties for flying can be serious. $27,500 for failing to register a drone, up to $250,000 for flying an unregistered drone.
Also, flying it over any military base, I'm pretty sure there's laws about that.
And then
I don't.
why wouldn't they shoot it down? Hey, if we have a national defense system, but if a foreign enemy wants to fly, aircraft over our military bases, we don't do anything about it. What?
Oh my God! Do you think the chick from Secret Service is in charge of the drone defense?
Maybe.
It's like a Kimberly Cheadle joint.
An FBI official has said that the agency has received 5,000 tips through a hotline, and that less than 100 of those were deemed worthy of further investigative activity. So about 100. A Department of Homeland Security official said there is no evidence of a threat to fuck. So here's what Michael Schellenberger says. He says the government insists drones aren't violating restricted airspaces over military bases, but they have frequently for years. And now the Air Force admits drones invaded the airspace over its Wright-Patterson base in Ohio on Friday night. From what drone incursion closed Wright-Patterson Air Force base's airspace Friday night. It's the latest is the latest installation to deal with the mysterious drones. There it is.
Oh man. It's like the trouble with tribbles from Star Trek.
He says the airspace was blocked for around 4 hours late Friday night into early Sunday.
Oh, the drones are mating and making more drones. How are we going to clean them off this base?
And
We're dealing with it.
The story notes that it is notable that the one spotted over Wright-Patterson, as with the other U.S. military installations, were seen by trained observers that are equipped with high-end gear to maintain security and to discriminate between friend and foe. What? So these aren't just yahoos in their car or their backyard. These are trained observers equipped with high-end gear to maintain security and discriminate between a threat and a not threat.
So it is Iran.
Can anyone think of other instances in U.S. history when the senior U.S. officials, including cabinet members, have so openly denied what military-based commanders are telling the public?
Well, Jimmy, I know this was debunked that you told me, but it sounds like a big play acting, like, hey, tell us what it is. And they can't because they're searching for a loose nuke or whatever the fuck.
So here's Biden's officials in his cabinet, Mayorkas and Kirby, said, we have not seen drones penetrate restricted airspace, except that the military is saying that they have. There are no reported or confirmed drone sightings in any restricted airspace. Of course they have been. So he's saying, when that has the cabinet, senior U.S. officials, including cabinet members, so openly denied what the military is saying.
Do the people that do this propaganda not understand that when your credibility is gone, you can't pull off this kind of horse shit, and you're going to get a lot of apathy and anger at you, and that's it?
Hey, federal officials, looks like you're in a pinch. Need a way out? Say it was AI that took over the drones. But you'll have it under control again soon. That's right. AI to the rescue once again. It's the new devil made me do it. He goes on, he asks ChatGPT. Instances where senior U.S. officials, including cabinet members, have publicly denied claims made by military commanders are relatively rare, but not unprecedented. Historically, such situations often arise during periods of heightened public scrutiny, security concerns, or potential pressure. Here are a few notable examples. UFO encounters and military reports from 1940s and 50s. During the early years of UFO sightings, such as the events in Roswell in 1947, high-ranking military and government officials, including the U.S. Air Force, frequently dismissed reports as weather balloons or experimental aircraft. This contradicted accounts from local military personnel who initially described the incidents as involving unidentified objects. The dissonance created decades of skepticisms about the government's transparency. Hey, actual aliens, I say you get down here soon so you can clear your name, because these guys are making you look like a bunch of amateurs. Number 2, Vietnam War body count strategy. Senior officials in Washington, including Defense Secretary Robert McNamara, often issued optimistic public assessments of U.S. military success in Vietnam, focusing on enemy body counts as a measure of progress. These claims were sometimes contradicted by on-the-ground commanders who reported significant challenges and questioned their accuracy. Number 3, Iraq War and weapons of mass destruction. In the lead-up to the 2003 Iraq invasion, senior officials, including Secretary of Defense Rumsfeld and Secretary of State Colin Powell, publicly asserted that Iraq possessed weapons of mass destruction. After the invasion, military personnel on the ground reported that no such weapons were found. Number 4, Afghanistan withdrawal in 2021. During the chaotic withdrawal from Afghanistan, senior officials, including Secretary of State Antony Blinken and Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, often painted a more controlled picture of the evacuation efforts. This contradicted reports from military commanders and service members who described a far more chaotic and dangerous situation. In each of these cases, the discrepancies between government statements and reports from military personnel reflected broader tensions between the public messaging and the realities of complex or politically sensitive situations. They often led to increased distrust and scrutiny of official narratives. No kidding.
Hey, Jimmy, I just got texted by my buddy, the Zero Hedge article, that the invasion is just in time for Congress to reauthorize Orwellian law. I haven't read it yet, but
okay.
I assume they were like, we need more drone control, and it's probably going to extend in some bizarre way.
So here's the guy Rogan tweeted out. This guy's saying he thinks it's loose nukes, right?
Yeah.
And so Schellenberger says there is zero evidence of loose nukes. The behavior of the government is not what it would be if there were, and what they're searching for them in military bases. The theory not only lacks evidence, all the evidence is against it. That's according to Schellenberger. He's saying, so this guy said that he's on the know, he's on the inside, he's the CEO of a drone manufacturing company, he has government contracts, and he thought it's that the drones are looking for loose nukes. But Schellenberger points out, you'd be looking for loose nukes over military bases? That doesn't make any sense. Okay. Or gas leaks, he said. Okay. Colin Rugg says so that's the guy, and then that's it. So all I gotta say is by the way, the nukes aren't loose. They're probably in Israel. How about that?
Loose Nukes was actually the name of my old podcast. That
Whenever someone tells you that you must be afraid of what is upcoming, but they don't give you the details, they're manufacturing a panic. And that's what it sounds like they're doing.
Wait, Jimmy, okay, when you say loose nukes, I think of like someone's loose pit bull is on the run. So I don't go, oh no, a loose pit bull. I go, whose dog is this? So whose loose nukes is it? Why isn't that part of the propaganda? Right? Whose loose nuke is it? That's the main question I would have.
Right. So, as Trump says, the government's hiding something, and even that New Jersey senator, the senator from New Jersey says the government's not telling us. So, they're trying to create a panic for something.
No, they don't want people to panic. That's why they can't tell us.
If I wanted to
they hate if we panic. Like it's not the ultimate form of control that works every single fucking time.
If I wanted to be led along pointlessly forever with nonsense, I would ask Kamala Harris a question. Okay. All right. So there we covered it. I was trying not to cover this story, but there I finally covered it.
Yeah, we were droning on and on about it, some would say.
Yes. All right.
No.
Hey, check this out. So after the election, it seems a few Democrats are finally waking up to the idea that identity politics doesn't actually win elections. Shocker, right? Turns out ignoring real issues and bending over backwards for corporate interests might actually be the problem. Who knew? Democratic Congressman Seth Moulton flat out blamed Harris and the Democrats' unwillingness to move on trans athletes for the party's election night losses. Didn't know that. Of course, this didn't vibe well with any establishment media, and he was immediately attacked for those comments. No kidding. Mass Live, which of course is owned by a giant media conglomerate, ran this headline: "Facing a furor, Moulton tries to explain remarks on trans athletes." Billionaire-owned MSNBC calls out Moulton for, quote, throwing trans Americans under the bus. What about women? Compare that with all the praise he's getting from the right, saying that he's correct. This gap in perspective isn't just confusing, it's manipulative. And without a tool like Ground News, today's sponsor, you'd never see through this stuff. Ground News shows you every headline on a story and how the coverage changes based on political bias or, importantly, corporate funding. This makes it possible to sift through establishment-leaning media to more trustworthy independent sources and spot stories that are straight up ignoring, which is what their blind spot feature is dedicated to, showing you stories that have little or no reporting by one side of the political spectrum. I like this feed because it shows me stories the media might deliberately be hiding from me, like how hardly any outlets are covering the fact that now Democrats are trying to replace Moulton for speaking out on the same issues that resonate with a lot of Americans. If you care about finding the truth and holding the billionaire class accountable, I think Ground News is for you. So now is the perfect time to go to ground.news/JD or scan the QR code to subscribe. We're giving my viewers 50% off. Did you know that? 50% off Ground News Unlimited Access Vantage Plan. It's their biggest discount of the year, so take back control of how you stay informed, see the full picture, or send this to someone who needs it. Hey, come see us do live shows January 3rd in Los Angeles, Honolulu after that, Baltimore, Maryland, Atlantic City, Cohoes, New York, and Providence, Rhode Island. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets.